Hey there everyone, welcome back. We are going to be looking at hands from the sixth segment today of the Spector versus Rosenthal match in the semifinals of the 2022 USBCs. Let's take a look at what we got for today. So, taking a look at the scorecard for this segment, we see that a lot more imps have been flung around. It's 27-38, and this is the first segment that was won by the Rosenthal team in this match. Our previous segment, the fifth segment, was a tie, 9-9 imps. So we have a lot more action going on here. And I see quite a few what look like very fun hands. I noticed the first board that the same contract went down at one table and made at the other, but it was declared by two different sides, so maybe that was just an opening lead question. Game swing on board 2, there was a slam swing on board 3, but what's really caught my attention is board 20 of the segment, where one side bid all the way up to 7 clubs, and the other stopped in a game. So it feels like this was actually a sacrifice against what might not have been making slams. So let's take a look at the more tame of these two results and see what happened. West in first seat, everyone vulnerable, opens a heart. This is an 11 count, and we've seen some variety between all of the pairs in this event. I think this is a very clear one heart opening bid. If you aren't opening this hand one heart, the suit quality and distribution and kind of defense to offense ratio doesn't really sit well for a two heart opening. So your alternative might be to pass this hand, and I really don't like that action. I am not a big believer in the idea that some hands are too good to open a weak 2, but not strong enough to open at the 1 level. So I really like opening this hand a heart, but I do think that some pairs might downgrade the value of the queen doubleton of diamonds and could open this 2 hearts or even pass. North has nothing to do. He has a 1 count. He probably expected this 1 heart opening bid when he looked at his hand. And East bids 2 no trump, showing 4 hearts and game forcing values. I know that some pairs do play 2 no trump or some sort of Jacoby type response as being limit raise or better, but it looks like this partnership has agreed it's game forcing. South jumps all the way to 4 clubs. And I kind of like that bid. I think, in general, what this bid does is it suggests a sacrifice over 4 hearts. It's not necessarily trying to be preemptive, it's not necessarily trying to make, and because you're not really stopping the opponents from bidding all the way up to 4 hearts, which they've already promised they're going to do with the 2 no trump bid, the whole purpose of this is to clue partner in, hey, I have a long club suit, I'm thinking that maybe we should save against their game because I don't have a whole lot of defense, so I'll let you make the final decision, partner. What do you think? And I've talked about this before. I really like these bids that allow partner into the equation, especially if our hand isn't so unique that we really have to take over full captaincy of the auction ourselves. In this hand, there's no real extra distribution that South has. I mean, 7-2-2 is about as flat as your hand can get with a 7-card suit. The club quality is excellent, and that's what you might expect for this 4-club type of bid. Sure, the Ace of Hearts is an outside card and a defensive asset, but we might expect something like that for South to be coming in vulnerable into the opponent's auction, that South probably does have some prospects for making quite a few tricks himself, and could have a little bit of defense on the side as well. So this hand feels like it's right down the middle of what a 4-club bid should be, and that will let partner judge pretty well as to what he should do with the contract. Okay, so West, having nothing more to say, elects to pass. I think I like this decision. We do, as West, have an extra trump, so that probably indicates more offensively oriented hands, but our hearts are fairly weak, and we have excellent defense in the Ace-King third of spades, as well as the Queen of Diamonds is probably a defensive asset. We don't have club shortness, So I think that passing over 4 clubs as opposed to, for example, bidding 4 hearts to show that we really want to declare this hand and 4 hearts is the limit makes some sense. I'm hoping that West isn't passing to indicate some extra offensive strength, which I really don't think he has on this auction. The doubleton club is a big no-no when the opponents come in on this type of deal. But I do suspect that West is thinking, maybe if partner reopens with a double, then we can defend 4 clubs doubled and collect an easy 500, maybe even 800, when game our way could have definitely been a little shaky. I mean, West's minor suit holdings don't look all that great. So, pass by North. I think I'm in favor of this bid, even though partner bid 4 clubs, and we have club support and heart shortness. Our hand is incredibly weak, and I feel like raising to 5 clubs would offer the opponents 2 shots at doing the right thing. From our perspective, we probably expect them to be making 5 hearts, in which case, if they bid on to 5 hearts, we haven't really done anything good for our side, and because our hand is so weak, we might not have enough offensive prospects, so if they do double us in 5 clubs, we expect to be going down, and that could also be a disaster for us. We could be going for 800 or 1100. So I like passing as North, and that means we're just going to pass throughout. We never want to pass in a preemptive situation and then come in later into the auction when the opponents have had more chance to compete and show their values. So East balances with 4 diamonds, and this is clearly a slam try, indicating interest in offense. I wonder if this bid is maybe a little rich, but I do understand it. 15 high card points, the singleton club is definitely great. I don't like the spade suit. We need a lot of help from partner in spades for us to have no losers in that suit. And if we have a spade loser and a club loser, we're already not making a slam. But 4 diamonds probably comes with very little risk. If partner bids 4 hearts, we can sign off. If partner elects to take over with key card, we're going to show him 2 without the queen, and hopefully he'll know what to do from there. Hopefully we don't go down at the 5 level in that type of situation, but I think our diamonds are probably strong enough that we can get away with this bid without too much of a risk. And West, having nothing more to say, bids 4 hearts, which ends the auction. Okay. This all looks pretty well bid, I would say, by both sides. North, I expect to lead a club, even though North knows that they have a large club fit. His partner asked for a club lead. He sees no reason to do anything else. So we make the opening club lead, and Declare is just going to win whatever trick he can, start pulling trumps, and concede the 2 round suit aces, the ace of clubs, and the ace of hearts. So we'll just step through the play. I don't expect too much of interest to happen. I really like the 10 of hearts play. In these types of situations, when you conceal your own hand, maybe there's some potential for North-South to get a spade ruff. That is definitely possible. So if North does have the heart ace, then maybe he'll be tempted to duck, and then Declare will easily pull a round of trumps quickly. When, from North's perspective, he might think, oh, Declare could be trying to guess the heart suit by leading the 10. So, in this case, it doesn't really matter. South wins the ace of hearts, returns another spade, and Declare claims. 11 tricks. Now, let's take a look at the excitement that happened at the other table. Oh, this is actually something that I didn't even consider. When I was looking at East's hand, I didn't realize that he could have made a different bid on his first turn. So let's talk about that here. So West here opens a heart once again. We talked about this. Great opening bid, I think. North passes, and East jumps to 4 clubs as a splinter. Now this gets alerted as a strong splinter. And this normally shows 4 or more hearts, shortness in clubs, a singleton or void, and game-forcing values. This tends to be a more descriptive bid in general than going through a Jacoby type 2 no-trump bid, because 2 no-trump takes up a lot of space and doesn't really show anything about your distribution. You tend to be asking opener for information about his hand, when realistically what you care about is showing your shape so that opener can make decisions. Because opener holding ace third of clubs might not like that holding unless he knows that you have a singleton in the suit. And similarly, opener with king, queen, jack of clubs might think that's a pretty good holding. But once he hears you have a singleton or void, it turns out to be less optimal. So, okay, 4 clubs by East alerted as a strong splinter. That probably means they play something like 3 no trump, shows a weaker type hand with a splinter in some suit, and then 4 clubs could be an asking bid, or maybe 3 spades over 1 heart could show that type of hand as a weak splinter. So East here has 15 high card points, which is a little stronger than a bare minimum game force. So I understand the distinction that he's trying to make. He's saying that maybe we can still have a slam, even if you have a minimum opener, as long as our hands fit well. South comes into the auction with 5 clubs, and I think you probably have to do this with South. You can count 8 tricks in hand, so in the worst possible scenario, you're going to be going for 800. I mean, sure, West could have jack fourth of clubs, in which case you only have 7 tricks and you go for 1100, but you really need to get involved in this auction because you don't want the opponents bidding key card and getting coordinated, and they may well just bid up to a slam that isn't going to make. So I like the 5 club bid. There's a bit of a downside in that we do have a little extra defense. So if partner actually had some values over there, maybe 4 hearts is going down. But then again, if 4 hearts is going down, they might bid 5 hearts over 5 clubs and go down in that contract. So I really like the 5 club bid. I mean, I think our hand is just a bit too offensive, and we have a little too much to pass in terms of the potential for a cheap sacrifice. Like if partner has heart shortness, as he does here, we have 9 tricks. If partner has the king of diamonds, we have 10 tricks. And the opponents are making 4 hearts on that type of hand, so they'll be scoring 620, but we can be minus 200 and 5 clubs doubled, and that would be a huge win. So I like the 5 club bid. West bids 5 hearts, and I have to say I hate this bid. I don't understand this bid at all. As West, we have very little in terms of offense, extra, and we have a whole lot of defense. The queen of diamonds is a defensive asset. Ace king third of spades is a defensive asset. The small doubleton club is horrendous for offense because South has long clubs. Sure, our partner has club shortness, but we're still probably losing a club on this auction. So I don't really understand 5 hearts. I would expect West to pass the 5 club bid. I wouldn't expect East-West to be enforcing pass situation, in which case I think I would agree with 5 hearts. We don't want to be showing any extra values, but it seems like West should be just passing and seeing what his partner wants to do. Had West passed, I would expect East to balance with 5 hearts on this type of hand, and that would probably end the auction. But 5 hearts here I think should be showing some extras, which it looks to me is what East expected as well when he raised to 6 hearts. Because East really doesn't have a great hand, and I'm kind of questioning this raise to 6 hearts as well, because East should really have a club void, I think, for this type of raise. So, okay. West elects to be, I guess, a little aggressive offensively, bidding 5 hearts. Maybe he was just thinking, well, surely 5 hearts is going to end the auction. Partner has already showed his hand, so there's no reason for me to kind of dilly-dally around and wait. Maybe partner doubles 5 clubs and I'll be put in a difficult spot. Maybe partner bids 5 diamonds and I'll be in a tough spot. So let's just bid 5 hearts now and get it over with. East probably expected that this showed some extra values, but I do think what actually happened might have come into East's radar for why he bid 6 hearts. And I've definitely done this before as well, where I have just quickly bid a slam to make the opponents think I'm very confident about the bid and cause them to make a phantom sacrifice, winning a bunch of imps for our side. So East might have thought, hey, my 6 heart bid probably implies a club void, and if he was noticing some hesitation from North over a 5 heart bid, remember this is authorized information if our opponents hesitate, then he might suspect that North is itching to make a sacrifice. And if we push North a little bit to the 6th level, now North might think he has a cheaper sacrifice, because if we're sure to make a slam, then definitely they're going to be doing better than 1430 if they save in 7 clubs. So that could have been what's going through East's head, but I do expect after this 4 club bid showing extras and club shortness and 4 card hearts that East really has a dead minimum for this bid. So without a club void, I can't imagine that the value bid on East's hand is to try 6 hearts in this case. Although, of course, he might have been influenced by his partner's 5 heart bid a little bit. So pass by South. I don't see any reason to double. We don't even know if the Ace of Clubs is cashing. But I think as South, I would be fairly happy with the auction up to this point. West passes, and now North comes in with 7 clubs. And I have to say, I hate this kind of bid. I think this is just really devaluing partner's actions in the auction. When partner bid 5 clubs as a save, a lot of the times partner's just doing this to disrupt the opponent's auction, and we don't want to punish partner for showing his hand sometimes, right? It's not like as North we have a heart void, in which case maybe we could think, oh, maybe we're getting out for a cheap 500 or even 800 in this contract. It's not like we have 5 card club support, where we might think, well, we were never cashing a club, so 6 hearts is always making. I mean, the opponents didn't go through key card on this auction. Yes, I understand that East's 6 heart bid probably implies a club void and might have been made fairly quickly and confidently. Hard to say. I wasn't there observing the match, but that's possible. Nonetheless, I think bidding 7 clubs in these types of positions really punishes your partner for stepping into these auctions, because South could do this with a whole variety of hands, and he was saying, I wanted to sacrifice over 4 hearts. He gave no intention of saying, I want to save over 6 hearts. So I really don't like this. Like I said before, I think this is a newer partnership, North-South. Maybe they haven't really had a lot of time to discuss these high-level auctions and what exactly this 5 club bid should promise, but I'm really not a fan of this bid. So East doubles fairly quickly. I would be very relieved as East when North balances in with 7 clubs. Now we have a pretty easy double. We definitely don't want partner competing to 7 hearts, and this is definitely a forcing pass situation at this point. So with no extra offense and plenty of defense, we do want to double them. And it looks like Declare really is only going to be taking his 9 tricks. So 4 down, and what is that, 1400? Unless I'm missing something. Yeah, it looks like the opponents can take 2 spades, 2 diamonds, and that's it. So I guess we can, quickly step through, declare fast claims after the opening lead, and quite a large win to the Spector team. So moving forward, I see another game swing on board 22. I think let's take a look at that one. Sure. So in the open room, we have South opening a diamond. Now, this is a little amusing to me, because I know in some previous matches I had seen Kevin Bathurst in even first seat passing 12 counts. And there were 12 counts with a bunch of queens and jacks, sure, but this hand, by a lot of standards, is a little weaker than a 12 count. It's 10 high card points, and of course a good 6-card diamond suit, great controls. I like the opening bid, but it feels a little inconsistent to me, system-wise. Now maybe they've had some discussions about particular situations in which you might open late, and being favorable vulnerability could affect that. Also, they say that 1 diamond is natural and promises only a 3-card suit. So it seems like their 1 club opener is also natural and promising a 3-card suit, which is very unusual for experts nowadays. But let's continue on with the auction. So East having passed, West elects not to come in 2nd seat, or 3rd seat, vulnerable against not. And I'm not sure I like this decision, but I think it's close. I think as West I would have made a takeout double. We don't have the most ideal shape. Of course, we would like to have both major suits for this bid, but if we are going to enter the auction, takeout double is very flexible, and both 1 heart and 1 spade are available for a partner, so we're probably not going to be getting too high in terms of bidding. And we have some decent offensive assets. I mean, ace, queen, 3rd of spades is great. Ace, 5th of clubs is great. The 2 aces are obviously good. Having real diamond shortness for the takeout double is important. So I think I would have entered the auction, but I understand not doing so. North decides to bid 1 spade. Yep, we have spades, nothing else to say. And South comes back in with 2 diamonds, showing a minimum opener with some diamonds. North bids 3 no trump with his 12 high card points. So bidding with this 12 high card, so there's a couple of interesting things about North's 3 no bid. First off, if South can be opening these 10 counts, then it might be the case that North shouldn't be game forcing with only 12, especially a fairly bad 12, I would say, like this. Yes, the Jack of Diamonds is actually pulling a bit more weight when partner rebids 2 diamonds, but Queen Jack 3rd of clubs is not great. The Jack of Hearts is not a particularly good card. The only honor that we have, which is kind of working, is the 10 of spades. Another interesting thing to note is that North didn't go searching for a 5-3 spade fit. Now, maybe they've had a discussion where South, holding 6 diamonds and 3 spades, would always raise to 2 spades. I think that would be a reasonable choice, but are there certain hands where South is 3-2, 6-2, where he doesn't want to raise spades because his diamonds are substantially stronger and he would rather not play in a 4-3 fit? There are some trade-offs to this approach. I think a lot of people for North would play a 2 heart bid as artificial and just kind of like checking back to ask. So maybe they had that available, maybe they didn't. Either way, they get to 3 no trump. They don't have a 5-3 spade fit, so I guess we'll never know. And now we have to take a look at the opening lead prospects for East. I can't imagine anything other than heart honor, so let's get that out of the way. So East leads the Queen of Hearts, promising the king, and North now has decisions to make. It seems pretty clear to duck the opening lead. The opponents can't profitably lead hearts anymore, so they're going to have to switch suits. We have the potential to run some diamond tricks. And East switches to a club, which makes a lot of sense. You don't want to switch to spades, you don't want to play diamonds, and you don't want to continue hearts. I mean, spades is North's suit. So switching to a club makes sense. Now South, I expect to duck this on the hopes that West will win the ace of hearts or win the ace of clubs and play heart through. Not so much because we're going to get a heart fired back through, but because then our king of clubs may potentially provide an entry to dummies diamonds later. Oh, we pop up with the king of clubs, which is very surprising to me. It seems like West is always going to be winning the club ace on this type of deal. And so exhausting the king of clubs as a potential entry to dummy doesn't really strike me as the way to go. But maybe we should count Declare's tricks. I hadn't really thought about that. So we have 2 clubs after this. We have a heart, and if we can get 6 diamonds, that would be great. So that would require the queen of diamonds on side and the suit splitting 3-3. So maybe the king of clubs is trying to force out the ace, unblock the club suit, so that we can cash 2 clubs later in the hand. And then all we're going to need is the diamond finesse with the suit splitting, not 3-3, 3-2 here. Actually seems quite reasonable, because if we didn't unblock the king of clubs, then West, upon winning the club ace, might be able to put hearts through, and then even if the diamond finesse wins, we would still be in a little trouble because we can't get back to the clubs in our hand. So I guess I kind of like this line of play. A heart comes through, we duck to the king, a heart comes back, and the 10 of hearts is asking for a spade, so it's maybe throwing Declare off a little bit, but I think Declare is just going to take the diamond finesse at this point. Sure, cash some clubs, and lead another diamond. I like this play, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I like this play. I think point being that West could have been a little tricky and ducked the queen of diamonds, hoping that we would take another diamond finesse and strand all of Dummy's diamond winners. So I like not taking the second diamond finesse. It seems fairly likely that something like that is going to happen. Also, East holding 4 diamonds to the queen could have always covered the jack with the queen to set up a natural diamond trick or block the suit in some way. But once the diamonds do split, Declare claims the last, well, 4 of the last 5 tricks to make his contract. Okay. It seems like a pretty straightforward deal. Let's see what happened at the other table. So diamond by south, again. This pair is playing precision, so their openers can be a little lighter. I still think that this is a good opening bid. North bids a spade, south bids 2 diamonds, and north bids 3 no, once again. So we're kind of seeing how, even though this hand is in south's opening range, north, with a pretty weak 12 high card point hand, elects to not only not look for a 5-3 spade fit. Again, we don't really know what's going on with their system, whether south is denying 3 spades by rebidding 2 diamonds, but with a bare minimum 12, just decides to blast game. Okay, once again, I expect a heart lead, the queen of hearts, and I expect Declare to duck the opening heart. And I probably expect a club switch again. Oh, we get a spade switch. That is interesting. So I wonder why Declare elects to lead into North's spade suit at this table. Maybe there was some signal that happened in the heart suit, although we really want this. Oh, you know what it is? The queen of hearts could actually be a standard heart lead, in which case you're asking partner to drop the jack. So maybe this isn't queen from king queen, maybe this is the power opening lead, as they call it, which asks partner to unblock an honor if he has one. And so when partner doesn't have the ace or jack, the signal now defaults to either count or suit preference, depending on your agreements. In which case, maybe the 4 of hearts is some sort of upside down suit preference. I would expect it to be some sort of standard count signal. I think I recall this pair was playing standard count when we saw last. But, all right, so East elects to switch to a low spade here. And, I mean, honestly, this makes some sense. If North only has a 4-card spade suit, now recall, based on the auction, we don't know if North has 4 or 5 spades. So if North does have a 4-card spade suit, given that our spades are a little stronger than our clubs, South's spades are a little weaker than his clubs, we have some potential to set up partner's spade suit for extra tricks. So I can understand the spade switch from East. I hadn't given it a lot of thought, but I tend to avoid leading into the opponent's suits in general, but sometimes you have to. And this could be one of those opportunities. So East does lead a small spade to the 7, and West has maybe a difficult choice. I would expect to win the spade ace to play another heart. I think that is the most reasonable thing to do. We definitely want to be going after the heart suit to try and set up tricks. We know that partner has strong hearts over there, and putting in the spade queen, I mean, that just feels wrong here. So West does win the spade ace and puts a heart back through. Now let's take a look at Declarer's prospects. So Declarer has lost 2 tricks. He has potentially 2 more heart losers and the ace of clubs coming. And it feels like he needs to duck this trick to make his contract. But if he ducks this trick, he knows the opponents can switch back to spades to set up. This would be their 3rd trick if they win this, a 4th trick in spades, and then the ace of clubs. So more realistically, it probably makes sense for Declarer to win the ace of hearts and maybe try something sneaky, like leave the jack of clubs out of hand, hoping that East will not hop up, thinking that he's going to be taking a club finesse. But okay, North elects to put in the jack of hearts to the king and 8. And now East is in a tricky spot because he can switch back to spades, and this will set the contract on this layout. But if his partner doesn't have the spade queen, or if he needs to somehow set up a club trick or break Declarer's communication in clubs, then he might need to switch to clubs now. Tough choice. I don't know what I would be doing at this point. Maybe the 7 of hearts is a bit of an indication. If West's signal at trick 1 was count, we absolutely don't need to be giving count here. So this 7 of hearts could be a suit preference signal to play a spade back. East figures it out and works out to switch back to the jack of spades. And this goes to the king. Now Declarer's last chance, I think, is to try and knock out the club ace and hope the opponents don't have a spade to cash. That feels like the last opportunity that Declarer is going to have. Yep, he leads a club to the ace, but West, in with the spade queen, is able to cash the setting trick for the defense, and Declarer claims. So 2 different approaches from the defense on this board. And I think East-West for the Spector team at this table were very well rewarded by an insightful switch from East at trick 2 into Declarer's long suit, and then being persistent with it. Again, we don't know how much of the signaling West did to help out with East's problem here, or if he just thought that that was his most likely route to 5 defensive tricks against 3 no trump. Can't really tell. And can't really blame Declarer for his line of play. There was nothing he could do from a double dummy perspective, but there were other alternatives that he could have played for if he thought hearts were maybe 5-2, or if he thought spades were 4-3 or 3-3 in certain scenarios. But okay. So jumping back to the scorecard, we've already seen Rosenthal actually wins this segment with, despite this kind of disaster they had and 7 clubs doubled and another game swing they had on board 20. But yeah, they picked up some big swings at the start of the segment and were able to pick up 11 imps. That still leaves them about 70 imps behind, maybe 60 imps behind, going into the last 2 segments of play. Rosenthal is catching up to Spector, and they have 2 segments left to go. Join me again tomorrow as we take a look at the 7th segment of play. See you then.